Back with another episode of Local Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. Today in Iowa, the hands-free law goes into effect. We talked about it on the other show, Morning Coffee, and in fact, went back and revisited a conversation we had with Information Officer for the Iowa State Patrol, Ryan DeVault. So if you haven't watched that show yet, I would encourage you to do it because Trooper DeVault gives some great information about what is legal and illegal. There are still some things you can do with your cell phone when you're in the car, but that law goes into effect today in the state of Iowa. So if troopers see you with a cell phone in your hand, they're going to pull you over. So keep that in mind as you're making your way into work today. Brand new law as of today in Iowa. Also today, I wanted to talk a bit about smoking. Believe it or not, I used to be a smoker. I smoked for over 20 years and I quit. August 10th will be 16 years since I quit smoking. And I've had many people ask me the question when they find out that I had quit, how'd you do it? How did you quit? Because smokers, and I was one of them, think that there's some magic formula and there must be some answer that they've been missing that is going to help them quit smoking and it's going to make it so they can do that. So I'm going to tell you how to quit smoking today on Local Roots. So stick around for that. Castle and Associates of American Family Insurance is your local insurance provider for all of your home, auto, life, business, and farm insurance needs. 4 convenient locations in Council Bluffs, Trainer, Bellevue, and Elkhorn. They are local and in your neighborhood, ready to help you navigate the complexities of insurance today. Travis and his team educate, advise, and simplify insurance, all to protect those things you cherish most. Give them a call for your free quote. Do you or does someone you love need in-home care? Home Care Advocacy Network helps you maintain your own privacy and your own space while still receiving care and support with a personalized touch. Aging in place can be critical for many people. Home Care Advocacy Network can meet those needs with an understanding that assisted living is best at home. HCAN of Southwest Iowa brings the personal touch to care at home in Council Bluffs, Glenwood, Red Oak, Clarinda, and all the surrounding communities. Visit hcan.com/Southwest Iowa to learn more. Going back to when I first started smoking, I was a teenager, and that's when it happens for a lot of us. I could call it peer pressure, but it was a group of friends that I wanted to be cool around. I can't blame them. It was entirely my fault. I started by wanting to be cool, so I picked what I thought was a cool cigarette, which was Pall Malls, which incredibly harsh cigarette. It was just horrible. And I remember that first night sitting around my friend's house in the living room. And there was about 4 of us that were sitting around smoking, and we'd gone out and bought a pack of cigarettes. Boy, I'm an adult. I bought my own cigarettes, and I smoked about 4 of them. And I'm pretty sure I was visibly green. I was not feeling well at all. And you'd think that would get me to stop, but it didn't. And that was kind of the path down the road that led me to being addicted for over 20 years to cigarettes. I had tried to quit many, many times over the years. Sometimes it was because of health reasons. Sometimes it was because, I was a broke young person and I didn't even have money to put cigarettes together. And back then, I could still find generic cigarettes for under $1 a pack if I looked really hard. And typically they were in the $1.50, $1.75 range. And then, as you know, that's not what they are now. They just kept going up and up. And then eventually the government got involved and put some fees attached to that in an attempt to get people to stop smoking. Did it work? My opinion is no. I think that they vastly underestimated the addictive nature of nicotine. Once upon a time, back in the 80s, there was a Surgeon General. The name was C. Everett Koop. Do you remember him? I think he was Surgeon General during the Reagan administration. He said that nicotine was a mind-altering drug, and he's right. Now, not in a way that it caused you to hallucinate, but in a way that it made you stop thinking logically. I can remember a time when I heard a stat that said 50%, 50% of people who smoke would die from a smoking related illness. And at the time when I first heard it, I thought, well, those are better odds than I thought. You mean I got a 1 in 2 chance? What, are you kidding me? that's that's what actually went through my head back then. I used to brag about the fact that I could smoke through being sick, and I would get sick a lot. I would get bronchitis probably 4 times a year. When I first started the radio career, I was smoking then. During my times at KMA in the late 90s and into 2000, I was smoking, and I would get really good at being able to go outside, smoke a cigarette, and come back inside before ABC News was over at the top of the hour, which was a 5-minute newscast. And my entire world revolved around smoking cigarettes, about being in a place where I could smoke cigarettes. They were just starting to have some better understanding about secondhand smoke, and people were no longer allowed to smoke in restaurants. That all was a transition period. I can remember smoking inside of malls. As you're walking in the common area, you could smoke in a mall. There was ashtrays out there. You could smoke in hospitals back then. There was a smoking section in hospitals, obviously in airports, and didn't even change all that long ago in the grand scheme of things. And even on airplanes. Yeah, you could smoke in the back of airplanes as if that was somehow the air was going to be fine in the front and it was just going to be smoky in the back. Yeah, we had different thoughts about a lot of things, but I realized that I needed to quit smoking. And what for my own personal motivation, it was when my son was on the way, and that was nearly 16 years ago. Is when I was finally able to stop. It was August 10th. It was 9:30 at night. I was sitting out on my deck, and I had one cigarette left in the pack that I had, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, and smoking that cigarette, I said, you know what? This is my last cigarette. I think I'm going to try to quit again. And I knew I could make it through that night. Well, the next morning, I woke up and had some of that nicotine gum, that stuff that you can still buy. And I started using that. And did it help? Did it not help? I'm not really sure. But that was how I got started. Was with the nicotine gum. And I seemed to get hit with cravings about the same time every day. It seemed like around 4 p.m. was the worst for some reason. And then days were going by, and I was feeling out of control in my life. I had this sense of free fall a lot of times from nicotine withdrawal, and I still didn't smoke. And I had good times. I had bad times when I would have what smokers like to call a nicotine attack, meaning that it was just a really overwhelming feeling, and it seemed like time slowed down. It seemed like they would last for hours. But here is what I learned about those nicotine attacks. And if you're a smoker, you know what those are. They actually last less time than it takes to smoke a cigarette, just a few minutes, and then it would pass. Now, as I said, time seemed like it had slowed down, so it seemed like it was lasting forever, but it really wasn't. It was just my perspective that was off. And I made it about 10 days with just the nicotine gum, and I had gotten into the afternoon and I realized I hadn't had any gum that day. And I thought, you know what? Let's just go ahead and stop altogether. So I quit with the gum, and I just was completely nicotine free. And it was like I started quitting all over again. It just took me right back to day one. I was 10 days into it, so I had that as a little bit of motivation, but I wasn't at all comfortable. I was cranky. I was snapping at people. I was really, really struggling with this. And then I found a support group online. Now, I went back and looked recently. The website doesn't exist anymore. It was about.com. Do you remember that? You could get information on just about anything on about.com. And on that website was a smoking cessation page. And part of it was a group of people who were all supporting each other through their what they call their quits. How far into your quit are you? And there were little tricks that you could do that helped with motivation in quitting smoking. And the main thing was what you were allowed to put on your signature anytime that you posted. So in the beginning, it went for by weeks. So when you've been quit for 1 week, you could put a dot underneath your signature. 2 weeks, 2 dots, and so on and so forth, up to when you had 4 dots after 4 weeks. And then you hit the 1 month, which is just a few days after the 4 dots for 4 weeks. And you take the dots off and you put a single star. And then you start keeping track that way with your signature. Sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? I'm telling you, it became a true motivating factor that I really looked forward to that anniversary, that monthly anniversary, which was the 10th of each month, that I could put another star on my signature. It became a like that carrot on the end of the stick, and that's what I was chasing, was another one of those stars. That was the first part. The second part was I met somebody on that smoking cessation page that was about 6 weeks ahead of me. He was still in the Navy at the time. He was originally from Iowa, however was living in Louisiana, and he was, as I said, he was about 6 weeks ahead of me. And I would follow him and look at his posts and thinking that, well, he made it. He's just 6 weeks ahead. I can at least get that far. There's a lot of mental things that you have to play with yourself in order to be able to get over some of the worst of the cravings that I would have. They say that cravings are worse in threes. So the third day is going to be the worst day of the first week. The third week will be the worst week of the first month. And the third month will be the worst month of the first year. And I found that held pretty true, that these were the times that I had the worst cravings. Now, what is the secret to quitting smoking? Was it the gum? No. The gum just delayed the inevitable. That was just me putting off the hard part for 10 days until I actually stopped. The most effective way to quit smoking, and this is backed by science, is cold turkey. You just stop. And after I'd been quit for a few months, and there was people that smoked that had wanted to quit, and again, they thought that I had the answer. They thought that I'd figured out some kind of magic formula. How did you do it? You got to tell me how you did it. And I said, yeah, I'll tell you, but you're not going to like it. And I said, here's how I quit. And here is how I was successful and continue to be successful. I just didn't smoke. I didn't crave them any less than you crave them. If you are still a smoker or you're very early into your quit, that craving was the same for me as it is for you. You have the willpower to do it. This is the problem that we get into with whether it be some type of drug saying that it's going to make it easier for you to quit smoking or whatever the case may be. No, it is you deciding that you want to quit and then just not smoke. It's hard. Get used to it being hard. It's going to suck. Get used to that. It's okay. You need to motivate yourself in a way that says, when it's hard, I'm just going to go through it hard. I have the strength right now to do it. Yes, you do. I know you're saying, no, I don't. I can't do that. I've tried so many times. I can't do it. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can do it. You have the same motivation that I did. You have the same willpower that I had. You can do it. You have the strength to do it. You just don't smoke. You ride it out. I get that it feels like you're in the middle of a car wreck when you're going through that nicotine attack and you don't know how you're going to be able to ever survive it and it's going to last forever. No, it's not. Again, I promise you, put a timer on it. It takes less time for that nicotine attack to pass than it does for you to actually smoke a cigarette. Don't do it. Just don't smoke. Write it out. Here's another problem with that I figured out. You will never see the light at the end of the tunnel as you're going through all of this and you're quitting smoking and you're thinking, I just have to get to this point and it's going to be better. I just have to get to this point and it's going to be better. And you see the finish line coming up. Nope, doesn't work that way. You can only see your progress by turning around and looking behind you. You can see your progress by saying, okay, I quit on August 10th. Today is September 20th. All right, that's 41 days. I've been off cigarettes for 41 days. The nicotine gets out of your system within a few days. The rest of it is all psychological at that point. You know, we conditioned ourselves of feeling that our stress level would go from here to here anytime that we smoked a cigarette. And that distance, it didn't matter where this was at, that distance stayed the same. And that's why we always would feel better after we'd smoke a cigarette. But here's the problem. This, because you smoke, has been artificially elevated. And as you quit and as the nicotine gets out and as you get better, that starts to come down where this stays the same. So that difference isn't there. What you are feeling and what you get addicted to is the difference. It's that jump. But what if this was already here so there was no need to jump? That's that's what you need to get to. Takes a different amount of time for different people. I know I talked to somebody that he said after 2 weeks he was fine. Didn't even bother him anymore. My dad passed away nearly 5 years ago, but he was a smoker for a long time, and he had actually quit 7 or 8 years before I did. And I used to ask him about how long did it take before you never thought about them anymore, and he said about 5 years. Now, thinking about them and actually craving them are two entirely different things. I still think about them occasionally after 16 years. It's not an issue for me. It's not a craving that I have to fight off, but it's still in there. I still have dreams every so often that I have started smoking again. And it's a very realistic dream. And I wake up just feeling horrible, thinking I'd undone everything. Also, I would like to be able to smoke a cigar once in a while. I hear about my friends going to cigar bars and having a bourbon or something like that with a cigar. And boy, I would love to be able to do that, but I don't. And I've never done it because I'm too afraid of activating all of those little receptors in my brain again and being addicted to nicotine all over again. And I just will not do it. Now, at this point, and it's been this way for a while, you know, it's not an issue anymore. I don't crave them. I don't like the smell. If I'm driving down the road and somebody 2 cars up is smoking, I could smell it. It's going out their window, coming into my ventilation system in the car, and I can smell it. The worst is back when I still used to visit drive-thrus, you know, the fast food restaurant, which I've quit that too. But when I would be in line and somebody a couple of cars up was smoking, boy, that would just be horrible. Some people who quit say they continue to like the smell of cigarettes. I'm not one of those people. I do not like the smell. And I had to go around and apologize to a lot of people because I didn't realize how much that smell was affecting other people, or how strong it was. Because when you smoke, your nose goes blind to it and you don't notice it the way other people notice it. I used to think that people were just whining being around me. They weren't. It was really bothering them. And I was very calloused about it and had an attitude about it. And I was wrong. It was me that was the one off. If I wanted to smoke, I should go someplace where nobody can be around it. I see people now smoking in areas full of folks. It happens every once in a while at the farmer's market that somebody will walk by with a cigarette, and it is like really, really strong. Just because you walk 10 feet away, that doesn't mean that it is not going to affect me. And again, smokers get this attitude about it because I had it that, well, we have rights too. No, you don't have the right to force other people to do what you're doing. And if you're smoking around them, you're making them a smoker. It may not be firsthand smoke, but still you are. And you have the power to quit. Think about how much money you could save. There's a something called a quit meter. Look it up online. Go to a quit meter. And especially with what you're paying for cigarettes now, plug it in and see just how much money you could save over the course of a year. Several years ago, a friend of mine was talking about having a food truck and really wanted to do it. And I said, what's stopping you? Oh, I don't have that kind of money. And I said, well, let me ask you this. How many cigarettes do you smoke in a day? Oh, I smoke about a pack a day. All right. How much does that cost? And we did the math, and he told me how much it would cost for him to get a food truck, and just a used food truck. And I said, well, okay, doing the math here, if you were to quit smoking and not spend that money anywhere else, you would have the money for your food truck in 2 years. That would happen. And he just instantly dismissed it. Oh, that's not true. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's funny how broke people can still smoke. And again, I was one of them. When I was young, I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, but I always had cigarettes because I just found a way. Somehow, I always had money to go and get another pack. And we are motivated by what truly drives us. And if it's about being a smoker, you'll find the way. You'll find the money. So the money existed for him to be able to get that. 2 years was going to go by regardless. It didn't matter. 2 years would go by. And if he had quit, and after 2 years, his whole life would change because he would have had the money for his food truck. And he never did it. And that is it starts to get into an entirely different motivational speech. I listen to a lot of motivational podcasts, and it talks about what's truly driving you. What do you really care about? And also, how do you identify? The reason that it is no longer an issue, if I go into a gas station, which I don't do a lot because you can do the pay at the pump, but if I go into a gas station, it doesn't even occur to me to buy cigarettes. It's not something, oh, I'm a non-smoker now, so I'm not going to do that. It's not even on my radar at all because smoker is no longer who I am. It's not part of my identity. And you can get there. You just don't smoke. And again, reiterating what we said earlier, you have the power to stop. It's in you. Stop listening to people who say that you're not strong enough. Oh, the cravings are just too much. No, they're not. They are not. I get that it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. Just prepare yourself for it. It's going to be bad. Get ready, and you will get through it. It's not permanent. I promise you, it's not permanent. So there you go. How do you quit smoking? That's it. Don't smoke. It sounds like I'm cheating a little bit with that, but I promise you, you can get through it. And if you ever want to reach out to me to be your support system for quitting smoking, I'd love to do it. Somebody was there for me, and I can be there for you. So if you just send me an email, toddstuder@gmail.com, again, we'll just talk about it. And I would love to see you quit as well. It's a whole different world. I don't get bronchitis anymore. Got it 4 times a year, every single year, and I don't get it anymore. I am much, much healthier than I used to be. So that's my little preaching seminar for today. If you need precision metal fabrication done right, look no further than Foxco Fabrication in Council Bluffs. Custom welding to large-scale manufacturing, bringing your ideas to life with expert craftsmanship and cutting-edge technology. So whether it's industrial, commercial, or custom fabrication, they're going to get the job done on time and built to last. Go to foxcofab.com to learn more. If you have a leak, a clogged drain, or you're planning a big remodel, Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs is who you need to get a hold of. Fast, reliable service, expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. And if you've noticed your air conditioner isn't working the way that you thought that it should when all of this heat's been going on, AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning in Council Bluffs, they work out of the same shop with Waldstein Plumbing. This is the Waldsteins, Travis Waldstein and his son Hayden Waldstein. So go to waldsteinplumbing.com or airservecouncilbluffs.com. Oh, and air is spelled A-I-R-E, serve S-E-R-V. Nobody, when they named this company, was not thinking of websites because it makes it hard to spell it out. But if you Google it, you'll find it. If you just type in AirServe Council Bluffs, you'll find Travis there. So again, these are when integrity matters, and when doesn't it? These are the guys that you want to get a hold of. That's going to wrap up today's show. I would love to hear about your quit smoking success stories. Leave a comment here where you're watching the show. And also, if you'd like to reach out to me here too, you can do that if you just need a little bit more encouragement on quitting smoking yourself. You can do it. You have the power to do it. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.